Don Callis was attacked during a recent post-show press conference. We also have a look at Backstage reaction to that AEW banned list. And another Anoa'i family member has made their pro wrestling debut. More on that in this video. Hello everybody, Jack and Adam back again with the wrestling news. You've probably seen this floating about online by now because it's just a crazy situation.
It's really funny.
Don Callis was down in Mexico doing some work with AAA during their Triple Mania Tijuana show, I believe. And yeah, I shouldn't be laughing because it's obviously a bad thing, but it's one of those crazy wrestling stories that just happens from time to time. During the post-show press conference, he was legitimately attacked. Initially, it seemed by a fan, but now we'll get onto that. I guess we'll start at the beginning.
So Brian Alvarez reported that it was a fan, right? He said Don Callis was legitimately attacked by a fan, at a post-show press conference. Everything was an angle up until that point, but then a fan who was apparently upset about what Don had said to Kenny jumped on from behind, ripped his suit, concussed his eardrum, and busted open his mouth while he was trying to choke out Don from behind. Don was screaming profanities at the fan before he was pulled off. So he got pulled off, which is good, and was said to be livid afterwards. But there's been a bit of an update on this, and we've watched the footage back. I'm not sure this is what's happening. So there's lots of reports out there saying that that's what occurred. Yep. It's not necessarily the case. So Lucha Blog initially drew attention to this, saying in a tweet, the story about it being an angry fan seems inflated. It looks like a media person who thought it was a real fight and took Callis down to break it up, not because Callis had some real heat. So I watched the footage back and we've both seen it, and the fan in question, I think, is a photographer because he's strapped up with some sort of AV kit or something like that. And it looks like he's involved professionally in some way, and he didn't realize that it was a work brother, and he got involved, and it seems to have been a little bit inflated.
It's like if when you were the general manager of WCPW and you were being a right nasty man, we had a press conference and we staged a fan attack to get you heat, but then Fraser Porter in the media section had gone, I need to stop this, and he'd taken you down, just not as an attack on you, but to prevent to break up the fight.
I think people want to believe this because it's Don Callis and the guy is an unbelievable heat magnet. So you see something like this go down, and it's quite fun, isn't it? It's quite fun to go, oh yeah, man, he's so good at his job that he's got the fans riled up. It's like territory days all over again, but I don't actually think that's what's happened. I'd love to be proven wrong because it seems horrible to say, but I'd love Don Callis to get attacked by a fan because he's horrible, isn't he? He seems fine. That concussed eardrum.
For him to get, I think Alvarez there, does he mean like he's ruptured his eardrum or something?
Yeah, I don't know if a concussed eardrum is a thing. Yeah, maybe.
I've certainly never heard of it.
I think he seems fine. He was up and getting involved in the melee again afterwards, so I don't think he's hurt or anything. I hope it was a fan.
Given the background of Don Callis in the wrestling business and stuff, surely a part of him is like, brilliant.
Oh yeah, you'd be chuffed, wouldn't you? Yeah. Until people realise that actually it was a security or a media person.
If he wants to try and play that off though, he could just say it's just general chaos wherever I go. And I just feel
true.
He's been great recently.
He's fantastic, isn't he? He's run of his career as well. He's done so much good stuff, and I loved his work in Impacts. And I remember thinking, like, watching back in Attitude Era WWF, like the Jackal was something really, really special, like amazing mouthpiece, and what he's gone on to achieve in the 20 or so years after is just amazing. He's one of the best people on the mic ever. He's so good.
He's really, really good. And in a slightly different way as well to like a Heyman or a Cornette or other managers as well. But he brings his own style, and he's absolutely knocking it out of the park recently. Speaking of AEW, we also have an update on AEW's plans to run more pay-per-views. This comes after reports a few days ago that it was proposed for AEW to increase their schedule of pay-per-views and output, even maybe to a similar model to WWE where it would be one a month. Fightful Select reported that it was Warner Brothers Discovery who wanted this to happen, but then Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter has followed this up with an update from the AEW side of things.
Yeah, Fightful reported that Warner Brothers wanted AEW to expand its pay-per-view schedule. As you say. Since Warner Brothers, through Bleacher Report, gets a percentage of the streaming buys, of course they want more shows. And if it's part of a deal for Max to buy the pay-per-view business like ESPN Plus did for UFC or Peacock did for WWE, of course they would want more shows. From AEW, we've heard that it's been talked about, but it's not a decision that has been made. So it's just one of those time will tell things. How do you feel like about them running more shows? Because a lot of people say that it's nice that they do these sort of quarterly-ish pay-per-views because they feel a lot more special. But the problem with that is that if you start a feud just after a pay-per-view, you've got to try and drag out for 3 months to blow it off at the pay-per-view. Yeah,
and I also think one of AEW's big strengths throughout its history has been occasionally that in place of more regular pay-per-views, they've just done like a pay-per-view quality TV weekly episode as well, and I don't really want them to lose that. I guess on the other side of the argument, though, you could say that Tony Khan has amassed a massive roster beyond what he could possibly book given the amount of time. They'd have to have like a 24/7 wrestling network to give everyone the time that they deserved. So maybe monthly pay-per-views means that more people would get a chance to shine, but I'd argue that maybe monthly pay-per-views would just mean we'd see the same people with minimal changes on every monthly pay-per-view, and there'd be even less chance to build everyone up. It's a really tricky one.
I agree. I think given the style of a lot of AEW matches, you're far more likely to see a lot more injuries take place, because quite often following an AEW pay-per-view, during the press conference, it's revealed that like 2 or 3 people, quite consistently, 2 or 3 people have been hurt in some way. You do that every month. I think you're going to lose some of your top stars. They
definitely, because it's only like quarterly or so, they definitely like save a lot for the pay-per-view, don't they? And then just go all out. And no.
It's like this show name.
Come on.
Subscribe.
But yeah, I agree. I think it's maybe an encouraging sign that they seem to have been reluctant to this so far, and they haven't just gone, that's what Warner Brothers want, we'll do it. And there seems to have been some resistance.
Yeah. We'll see.
We also have backstage reaction to, so earlier on last week, AEW, it was announced, or not announced, sorry, it was kind of reported that AEW had introduced a list of things that will be banned from matches and TV going forwards. A few examples include unprotected headshots, hands-on interaction with fans, spitting, buckle bombs, and many more.
Just the way you said that.
Right, listen up, guys. These are the things that plan in the workplace going forward. No spitting, buckle bombs, that sort of thing as well. And Dave Meltzer has revealed the backstage reaction of the wrestlers in general terms, no one specifically, when it comes to these changes.
Dave said, it's like people were going like, what does talent think? And it's like, they don't really. No one's mad. It's kind of like the banned stuff has already been banned for the most part, other than the spitting. And of course, we can go without spitting. Right. Or bleeding on fans, which is never a good idea. Bleeding on fans, or whatever. Stealing drinks from fans. There's what value of entertainment do you lose by not doing that? It's not something that anyone's concerned over or anyone thinks is negative. It's pretty much, I think everything's gonna largely be the same.
Yeah, those seem to be generally common sense. MJF, I guess, is the person he's sort of talking about in a roundabout way there, the heel who gets most hands on with fans. I don't know who does the spitting, but I wish I'd never said it. But no, they all seem quite
they were really sensible.
Buckle bombs a particularly frowned upon move now. Like Rollins still does them.
The Sting stuff. Yeah,
maybe Sting's the one who went, hang on, none of that.
Maybe. I'm trying to think. I mean, I've seen them on AEW TV. It's a risky move. However you take it. You're not really in control of that landing at all, are you?
Right. I guess all you can do is get your arms above the top rope and hope that you land straight enough.
I think all of them made sense. The one that I'm really excited to see less of is just the constant bleeding during matches. And you can't say that without talking about Moxley. But it really does. First of all, it takes away from when there's actual blood happening. Like, blood should be a major thing in this era where you go, wow, I can't believe that. But also, Moxley doing it so regularly means that when somebody else bleeds, when it's not Moxley doing it, that the effect of that is weakened because Moxley has been doing it so often.
And I get maybe why Moxley does this, because he's all about the Blackpool Combat Club realism and everything. And in a boxing card or an MMA card, you're not just going to see blood in the big hyped main event. There could be blood on the smallest of undercard matches, because that's just the nature of combat sports. But in the case of wrestling, sports entertainment, you're right, it diminishes from the overall.
That thinking doesn't work for me. And he said something to that effect in,
Has he said that before?
In an interview quite recently. He said, yeah, we want to make this feel real. That's great for your matches. What about everyone else's?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If that can happen during any match, that needs to be consistent across the card. If you're just doing it on your own, I think it's probably a little bit selfish to think that.
However, I do think that that's maybe the only selfish thing Moxley, like his AEW run has been.
For sure. I'm not having a go.
No,
he's held the company together at various points,
Moxley,
for sure.
Yeah.
I just don't agree with that particular way of thinking.
I think I agree with you there. Elsewhere, another member of the Anoa'i family has made his pro wrestling debut. This is Zilla Fatu, who made his debut in a match for Reality of Wrestling over the weekend, winning with a Samoan spike.
This Samoan spike is unreal. Have you seen the footage?
No, I've just seen the picture of him with he's got like the tape and the tape around the thumb to make it obvious, like, ooh, I'm dangerous.
It's
That's what they say.
It's better than Solo's.
Oh, does he get more talk into it or something?
It's not even that, right? It's a choke slam Samoan spike combination. So he gets him up, and then as the opponent's dropping, his jobber falling to the floor, and he goes bang, hits him with it. It looks so impactful. It's awesome. Solo needs to steal it because this guy's not going to be ready, right?
He's been
for a
wrestling
few
for
years.
3 weeks or something.
This is his first match,
Wow.
right? He's only just started training, and it's so good. It's so good.
Well, he was speaking to Muscleman Malcolm after the debut and said, I didn't know the opportunity would come this fast. I didn't know me having this match would come this fast, but just thanks to the whole Reality of Wrestling card for believing in me and my vision. Thanks to Booker T, who obviously runs Reality of Wrestling, this like training school / promotion. And he said he played a big role in getting me on this card and actually on a flyer. So that's something big. I'm blessed to be in this position right now.
Good for him.
I was laughing at Zilla Fatu recently. And now I'm scared. But he sounds like he's just an absolute natural. It sounds like he's amazing. Like he's like, I didn't even expect to be on this early. It's because he did an interview where it's the first time I'd heard of him, and it was like, Reality of Wrestling are going to feature the next member of the Anoa'i family and everything. I believe he's Umaga's son. And he'd gone, the interviewer, I can't remember who it was, had gone, so what was it about Booker T's school that made you want to choose it? And he was like, well, I'm on parole, so I can't leave the state of Texas. Just there. But then he went on to say, which I've laughed at on like multiple podcast episodes now, but he did then go on to say like his dad and Booker were close and it just made the most sense, and he respects Booker as a trainer and stuff. But it's just the fact that he went, well, I can't choose anyone.
Yeah.
I can't leave the state.
He's been really open about his legal troubles.
Oh God, I wasn't laughing at that.
No,
It was just the answer of why he chose. It was just funny.
Not much option. People are getting excited by this because that is like they've seen the match, and it's a glorified squash.
Yeah,
they've seen the match and they're like, oh man, new Bloodline member. He's nowhere near ready enough for that or anything, and he'd probably do a spell in NXT. And by the time he gets to WWE, which will probably happen because they'll sign Anoa'i's, I think the Bloodline story might have wrapped up. So don't get ahead of yourselves or anything like that.
A resurgence though of the storyline.
Bloodline Wolfpack.
Roman coming back to try and take back what's his with this new lad. Yeah, they could do anything. Yeah, Bloodline Wolfpack. It's just two words just matched together, isn't it? Exit wounds. Right, so I shouldn't have. And finally, in very happy news actually for a wrestler on the WWE roster, Shotzi, or Shotzi Blackheart, as she is sometimes known. I'm not even sure at the minute whether they use her last name or not currently, but Shotzi anyway, shared to her Instagram story revealing that her and her partner have gotten engaged, seemingly in a comic book shop.
I added that. I couldn't work out where it was. There were some Funko Pops or something on the wall, but it's very, very sweet.
You've also said we send our congratulations to the happy couple on this exciting new chapter of their lives.
Yeah.
Very personal.
Well,
do you know
we go way back, obviously,
yeah.
Shotzi and I, and it's good to see one of my exes doing so well.
Oh my God, that's absolutely
true.
Why am I saying it unclarified? As if like, well, I don't know, it could be true. I don't know. Thank you very much for watching this news video. We do have another news video on the channel earlier on today as well, so check that out as well. Have you got anything exciting in the works?
Nothing massive. I'm back on Twitch tomorrow. We've got some SummerSlam lists going up this week. All good stuff.
Fair enough. And I am not on Twitch this week, but usually me and Owen stream on Wednesdays. I don't know if he's doing it without me. I think he is this week. Twitch.tv/Cultaholic from 6 p.m. on a Wednesday. And that's about it. Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section, and we'll see you very soon.